Guess what? It's time for another daily message, and today we're going to be doing another clairvoyant message. So today I received a vision of a tower, much like the tower in the Lenormand deck. For those of you who are more familiar with tarot, the tower in the tarot deck is very different from the tower in the Lenormand deck. In the tarot deck, the tower represents the foundation upon which everything is built being faulty and it crumbling. And it's often kind of the scary card to get, and I'm not really a fan of getting that card either, though I have learned that it is actually your best friend, and maybe I'll talk about that in another video. But in the Lenormand deck, the Tower card represents a lot of different things. It can represent things like isolation, but for me it represents success in career, it represents climbing the ladder, it represents just success overall for me. So that's the Tower card, or the Tower representation that I was given in a vision this morning. And basically what I saw is that many of us are climbing up this tower and we've made it halfway. So we may think that we haven't made it very far, but we have made it halfway, and that's definitely worth celebrating. But from that halfway point, even if we recognize that we're at least there, at least halfway, again, some people may not even notice that. They may feel like, oh, I haven't even made it that far, but you have. So we're at the halfway point. And even from there, when we look up, we're like, oh my goodness, I still have so much more to climb. I still have so much more to do. And the message that I feel from Spirit here is this. If you feel like you have been procrastinating, if you feel like you have been stagnant, if you feel like you have just not been moving forward in the ways that you want to, or in the things that you want to accomplish, Spirit wants you to know that this is not you necessarily procrastinating. It's definitely not you being stagnant. That part is for sure. What is actually going on is you're taking a breather. And Spirit wants you to remember that it takes two to tango, that we are not alone in our journey, that we are not the sole ones responsible for our success, that we have our higher selves. We have the angels that we work with, whatever it is that you resonate. We have helpers that are here to guide us on our journey. And one thing that I recently mentioned in a live stream that I did, I do live stream paid readings in a Facebook group. And one thing that came through in one of those readings is that Spirit really wants to help us. Sometimes we feel like we're asking too much, or maybe the things that we're asking for are too small, not worth Spirit's time. But what does Spirit really have to do? What do our guides really have to do? They sit around eavesdropping on our conversations, and yeah, it could be interesting to eavesdrop on a conversation, but when people are kind of stuck in the same cycle and they're just talking about the same things 6 months, for a year, for 2 years, not really moving on, that can get a little boring. And so Spirit is listening to all of our conversations, and yes, they're eavesdropping, and yes, sometimes it is interesting, but for the most part, we're just talking about the same things, the same people, the same struggles over and over and over again. So that can get pretty boring for Spirit, for our guides, for our higher self. And they just want us to ask them for help because there's so much that they can do, but unless we're willing to ask for help, it's hard for us to receive help. And that goes for life too. You know, sometimes we want help, but we're not ready to ask for it. And in order to receive it, we have to be strong enough to ask for it. And that's the same thing with Spirit. So they're just sitting around waiting to help us. So that's just one thing that I wanted to mention there. Yeah, but it takes two to tango. And I guess another thing that I learned maybe about a month ago is that there is this I think it's a Greek concept, and I just learned the very surface level, and I would definitely love to research this a little bit more. So please forgive my limited knowledge on this at this point in time. But in Greek philosophy, spiritual philosophy, we all have a companion star. And basically, when we are in the ethers, we are split up from our companion star. And there's something called involution, which is where we come from the ethers and we come down to the earth. And then there's evolution, which is where we go from the earth back up into spiritual development and reunite with our companion star. But all along, we are connected to this companion star, and that companion star is what we are here to really build that bond with, and that is here to guide us on our journey, to fulfill whatever contracts we have, etc. So to me, the companion star is very much like the higher self. And I really like connecting to the higher self in terms of this companion star. For some reason, that resonates with me even more. I just feel a deeper bond. So it takes two to tango. And what that means is if you are sitting down and feeling stagnant, feeling like you're not moving forward, feeling like you're procrastinating. Yes, some of it may be procrastination, but certainly none of it is stagnation. And you are not here to fulfill your destiny alone. You're not here to fulfill your goals alone if you don't believe in destiny. You do have help, and Spirit definitely would love to help you because they are sitting up there just being like, when are they going to ask? I'm really tired of listening to this conversation. When are they going to ask? So ask, definitely ask for help and for guidance. And the other thing that you need to know is that in these stagnation periods, it is a breathing period. You're being given a breather. And what does that mean? With so many people, everybody exercising their free will, but also moving towards their companion star and what their soul is really calling them to want to express in this lifetime, there is a mix of both destiny and free will that's going on. And every one of us has free will. We can take the long way to our destiny, or we can take the short way. We can take the rough way, or we can take the scenic way. There's so many different options that are available to us. And as we go about our life trying to figure it out, trying to figure out ourselves, trying to figure out other people, trying to figure out what our purpose is, trying to figure out our next step, we're making all of these different moves. Sometimes we're in alignment with our path. Sometimes we are kind of around our path, but not exactly on it, and veering, a little bit left, a little bit right, etc. And so all of these moves by billions of people all around the world, and we're just talking about people here, right? There's also animals and other kinds of guides and spirits and things like that. But just talking about the people, everybody just operating the best that they can, sometimes on their path, sometimes off, that is constantly shifting the playing field. And new opportunities are getting closed and opened every single second of every single day, multiple in a second. So when there are these periods of what feel like stagnation to us, they're actually breathing periods where Spirit is assessing the playing field as it currently is, updating it in real time, understanding it in real time, and noticing what opportunities are most likely to open up and which ones would be the best fit for each one of us. And they are collaborating with other people's higher selves, working together in this beautiful mesh, because all is one. And we may have individual expressions, but at the end of the day, all is one. And so our higher selves, our companion stars, are all working together with everybody else's companion stars in accordance with the universe where all is one. So a lot is going on when we think that we are being stagnant. And Spirit wants us to know it's just a breathing period. And hey, guess what? We're working to help you, and we're just figuring out what the next steps are. And if you don't know what the next steps are, it's either because we're still trying to optimize that for you. We know several next steps for you all the time. We know exactly how to get you from point A to point B and what will make you happy 40 years down the line. We know that. Spirit knows that. But sometimes we're trying to optimize that path. And we're taking into account your current energy and the energy of others and the opportunities. So it takes two to tango. You're not alone. When you feel like you're stagnant or that you are alone, know that Spirit definitely has your back. Ask them for help and know that they are helping you and that they are reorganizing everything so that you are being able to capitalize on new opportunities that have opened up that weren't there before when you first asked for your desire. So that is his message. Now, I know that sometimes we are procrastinating, right? It's not just that everything is rosy and we're doing all the things that we need to do. Sometimes we are procrastinating and not making a move. And with this being Virgo season, I want to talk about that with you guys too. So it's important to really tune into yourself and understand how you work best. And there's so many different ways to achieve your goals and to really motivate yourself. And some people are very goal-oriented, and that's really great. If that's you, then by all means do that. I think I have always tried to be goal-oriented because I like the idea of being a bigger picture. And in the Vedic system, I'm actually a Sagittarius. So that is what I tend to strive for, is that bigger picture. But in the tropical system, I am a rising Gemini. So, and then I'm also a Virgo moon. So I am naturally, I think, more task-oriented. So really embracing who we are. And in the message, I think it was 2 days ago, I mentioned how we need to be authentic, right? We are on our destiny, but we need to be authentic. We need to stop trying to go about things in the way that other people are going about them. Now, I definitely believe that if there is something that you wish you were, then you already are that. And it's just a matter of time before you come into realization of that. For example, if you want to be psychic and you feel like you're not, but you really, really want it and you explore it and you try to learn about it, you absolutely are psychic. There is a reason why you are so drawn to that. So I definitely believe that. But the guidance for right now is to honor who you are, be authentic with who you are. If you really pride or really look up to people who are innovative and come up with new ideas, and you try to do that, but that's not really what gets you results. What gets you results is building upon other people's innovative ideas and turning that into something new. Then now is the time to be honest with yourself. So, for example, with me, I like to be goal oriented. That's what I want to be, and that is what I am. But now is not the time for me to realize that I'm not ready for that realization. So, what really does work for me, it's being task oriented and also being time oriented. I notice that when I have a routine and it has littler tasks, that I'm really good. Like, I've been working out consistently for, let's see, 15 years or more. 15 years or more. Even on vacation, I will work out. During COVID, I did not work out. That was like a shock to me. But even when I'm sick, I will work out at least once or twice during that week. It's like my cure-all, honestly. If when I was younger and I used to get hangovers because I would drink too much, I would wake up the next day and I would be working out and I would just be sweating out the alcohol and then I'd be bouncing right back. So, yeah, so like for me, doing something that is very routine based, that's the same every single day, that's what works for me. That's what I stick with. And that sounds so boring to me. It's like, well, everybody's always talking about how routines are boring and I like to do something different every day. And mentally, yeah, that sounds great. But what actually gets me results? Yeah, it's the routine. So just being honest, about what really works for you. The other thing that I noticed or that I came to the conclusion of today as I was receiving this guidance from Spirit myself is time. When there's a big to-do or like a big project, I tend to procrastinate a little bit more on it. But if I only commit to, I'm only going to work on this for 30 minutes, that I can do. That I can absolutely do. And by the way, if any of you guys are time-oriented, there's this app called Forest, and it works off of Pomodoro, but it like lets you pick trees and then you can plant them. And if you don't get distracted during your Pomodoro like sprints, you will actually get to plant that tree. And it has a free app. It does have ads, and I did eventually pay to get rid of the ads because I was using it for I was using it like pretty religiously earlier this year, and then I kind of fell off of it. But yeah, that's just something if you guys are interested in it. So just really being honest about yourself, like really trying to figure out what actually gets you results. Not what do you wish would get you results, but what actually gets you results, and honoring that. And then, of course, leaving room for Spirit, because we did just have the Pisces full moon, and I don't think we're not in the Pisces moon energy right now, but just kind of honoring that energy too a little bit of having a structure, having a routine, but allowing Spirit to kind of help you out in between, leaving room for energy and magic to kind of fill in some of the gaps, or maybe switch up the routine just a little bit, but, have your plan for your routine if that is what you are guided towards. So that is the message for today. If you're feeling stagnation, if you feel like you haven't hit the pinnacle, you absolutely are going to hit the pinnacle, and you're not being stagnant. Spirit has your back. They're working things through for you. But in the meantime, if you are procrastinating and that's definitely what you're doing, then be honest with yourself about how you work. There's no shame in being who you are. And whoever you want to be, you will be them. You will be that. It's already you. But maybe now is just not the optimal time for that. So with that, I will leave you here. And also, if you guys are interested in a personal and private reading, go to the description box below. I have an Etsy page and you can purchase one there. I also have started offering healings again. So that I don't have a shop open for just yet, but if you're interested, reach out and I can help you manifest some of your own desires or heal if you guys are feeling sad or depressed or dealing with anything. And I also have a course for anybody who is a light worker, starseed, or indigo, and is wanting to connect with their own path and activate their own light codes. So that is also in the description box below. And with that, I will catch you in the next video.